How did you change Batavia as mayor?
Well, I don't know if I changed Batavia because we have basically the way the government here in Batavia works is I'm the elected mayor, but we have a 14-member elected city council. And the aldermen are really, we have what the textbooks would describe as a strong council, weak mayor form of government. And I'm described in the textbook as a weak mayor because in the affairs of the city government, I don't vote unless the city council splits half and half. 7 vote for one way and 7 vote the other, and it's a tie, then I get to break the tie. That probably happens once out of every 300 votes, maybe 400 votes out of the city council. So it doesn't happen very often. So the real power to make the decisions, to do the things, to approve the budget, to spend money, to annex property, to build a new building or whatever have you, you know, as the mayor, hopefully I help formulate policy and promote ideas. But when push comes to shove, it's the 14 elected aldermen who have the power to say yay or nay to whatever ideas or proposals are before the city council. So for me to say that I can take the credit for a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that have happened during the time I've been the mayor. Virtually every city department has new facilities, is one example. But I can't really take the full credit for that because that could have only been accomplished with the support and approval of the members of the city council. And there's been 46 people who have served on the city council during the years that I have been the mayor. So there's a lot of individuals who have had their say and their participation and their vision into what's going on here. And as an example, this building that we're in right now was originally bought by the city government in 1973, excuse me, with the idea that it would become the city council chambers and the police station. I didn't get elected mayor until 1981, so the city had already owned this property for 8 years when I got elected. And when I got elected, this building was in pretty rough shape. The ceilings were coming down. The building was you know, nearing 100 years of age. It was in pretty rough shape, and it needed a lot of work. Well, the community wasn't quite ready yet to support the idea of moving the city hall in here, so we kind of had to go through a lot of different concepts and ideas and thoughts and whatever have you, and it was only after we started building the Riverwalk around the building in early 1990s that people then began to see the vision of, we were tearing down some of the dilapidated buildings, we were going to use this one 3-story building for the city hall, and we went to referendum in 1996, 23 years after the city had bought the building, and we finally got the referendum approved to finish the building off and do it the way it should have been done. So sometimes in local government we find that it takes a lot of time, there's a lot of visioning, and you have to do a lot of communications with people to try to sell your idea of what you're trying to do. And I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, we saved a 100-year-old building here and transformed it, modernized it, put it into, and it should serve the community. There's enough expansion room in here that the city shouldn't have to worry about not having enough room for anybody. We have a very modern police station that was added as part of the 1996 referendum. And so things worked out real well, but we had to wait a long time to get that accomplished. So a lot of stuff in government you just don't do overnight. And that may be one of the lessons that President Obama is going to learn here, I'm afraid. And you know, he's got a lot of great ideas, and I support what he's trying to do, but I'm thinking that it may take a while for a lot of what he's trying to accomplish to get done. It's just the way the system works, especially at that level where you have all these members of Congress and everybody else wanting to jump in on something. I only have to deal with 14 aldermen here, so, and they all live in town.
What are you most proud of in Batavia?
Well, I think I'm most proud of probably the quality of life that we enjoy here, that it's a nice town and people are very friendly, and we've maintained the standards of the community so that we don't have a bunch of boarded up houses, or we have a, you know, like every town, you're going to have some crime, you're going to have some character drive into town, do something bad, and then drive out, and he's not even a resident of town. And because we are a community that has a lot of successful people, you know, criminals will come in here and think, oh, I'll break into this house because I probably can find some jewelry or electronics or whatever have you. So you do get some crime, but our crime in comparison to a lot of other communities is significantly less. And I take, you know, a lot of, use the word credit, but I take a lot of appreciation to the fact that because we maintain a police department that has high visibility, in other words, we have officers in uniform and they're in cars and they're assigned to patrol specific sections of the community 24 hours a day, that you can't drive around Batavia too long without seeing a police car. And that has a tendency to keep people away. I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, we were able to get our fire departments completed, one on each side of town. And when I started as mayor of Batavia in 1981, one of the things that we really were having serious problems with was we had, at that time we had an old fire station downtown and we had just built one over on the east side. And the gentleman who was mayor before me made the decision to close the downtown fire station. So the only fire trucks where there was any manpower was way over on East Wilson Street. So people like in your neighborhood, if there was an emergency, they had to wait a long time for somebody to come all the way from the east side. More important to that, though, was the fact that at that point in time, we did not have any manned paramedic ambulances in Batavia. So if you got sick or somebody in your family got sick or something, you got in an accident or whatever have you, you would have to wait for an ambulance to come all the way from either north end of St. Charles or the north end of Geneva, which is where the ambulances were stationed. And right after I got elected, some things happened that allowed us to kind of restructure the ambulance service, and we were able to bring the ambulances into the fire department. And today we've got a paramedic manned ambulance on both the east and the west side fire stations, and we also have fire engines in both stations that have at least one paramedic a day working on them, so that if the ambulance is busy, the engine can come and still do all the things that you need to have done to you from a medical perspective until we can get another ambulance in there to transport you. And because of that, I'm sure we have saved some lives in town. So if you ask me, you know, what makes Batavia a good thing or what I'm the most pleased about, it's that we've been able to probably greatly enhance the public safety package of the community and hopefully make it a safer place for people to live.